Hello, everybody. Welcome to Geek Impulse, and I am here with Ciera Foster, model, martial artist, activist, actress, who's coming to us all the way from Europe, right? I don't know if it's London specifically,
No,
but
Los
Europe.
Angeles. I'm in LA, and
Oh, okay.
the acting side and a public speaker. That's what I'm, and playing superheroes. The modeling, I do model sometimes, but I'm just tall and model-esque, but that's not really my jam. But I will, though. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, awesome. And you know, we've been trying to set this up for a few days, and we had some hiccups here and there. So I really appreciate you being here. Like I said, I know you're very busy. You're just telling me you're about to start doing a bunch of scenes for a series. Obviously, you might not be able to tell us what it is, but for those who might not know who you are, perhaps, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of background?
So my name is Ciera Foster. I am an actress, and I'm also an activist and a public speaker. I am a former director for the United Nations Women's Los Angeles. But I guess if you want to know more about that, you can look it up. I did a lot of stuff recently with Black Lives Matter because of the climate, just and everything with social justice. I'm a big proponent of empathy. And with that, I believe naturally I had an inclination towards superheroes at a very young age. I grew up and I was a girl with all guy cousins, my older brother. So I grew up on Mortal Kombat, Dragon Ball Z, Street Fighter, like Digimon, Pokemon, like anything that was like anime or action based cartoon, but mostly comic books. That was my jam, especially superheroes in particular. And I believe it's just because that's just who I am as a person. So art imitates life. So those are some of the roles I tend to take. And to answer your first question, I can actually tell you I'm shooting a series called The Watchers. I play a character called Tamael, but some people call her Tamil, who is actually a fallen angel. And she has to battle against Archangel Michael.
Oh, wow.
Was played by Kevin Porter. Most people know him from as Batman, from Batman the Suns, Superpower Beatdowns. They just did Dying is Easy. It was just like over 5 million views in a week. We're also in Legends of the White Dragons together, which is like a Power Rangers. I don't want to say crossover, but it's just it's something different JDF is doing, and I'm Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm a part of. But back to The Watchers, it's something that I think that even if you're not obviously a comic book fan, or you're not someone who's super religious, or you're not someone who super loves action, or you do love action, it has everything for everyone. It's just a really great story. And I have the most fight scenes out of anyone in the whole thing. And it's exciting. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's pretty exciting to see, you know, how you take to that character, being as versatile as you are. You know, a lot of fans really got to know you really well with, you know, being Livewire, right? And so that was one of the first things that came to mind when we decided, hey, you know, let's interview her. And with regards to that character, and we'll get into a lot of other stuff that you've done, including maybe your activism, things like that as well, and your public speaking. Like, how did you see the character Livewire? Not necessarily what the comic book says she is, but how you embodied her.
Well, from a young age, let me go back a little bit more about me. My dad is a Sing Pseudo Master. He's a 7th degree black belt, and he's in the camp and sparring partner camp with Chuck Norris. And so just having that background, you know, we were always taught in martial arts that, you know, it was always like a last resort type of thing, and it was for your own self-discipline, but you were there to protect and not be, you know, not weaponize it, right? Use it for self-defense and to protect others. So I think that really resonated with me, like just that ideology, you know. And so that, in combination with just loving X-Men, like like it just does something to me. And so I have it's no secret, I have an affinity for Ororo Munroe. I love Storm. And yeah, so I think that I'll be quite honest, I've talked about this often. I pulled a lot from Storm, but I'm still making Livewire my own, because when Bat in the Sun contacted me and Valiant had contacted them because Sony was doing the films and they wanted to put out a show. I didn't know, they didn't tell us anything. Like it was like I was like, is this a Marvel situation? Like we knew nothing. And now later on, I found after like a year later, after I had done the role, that there was like a little folder I was sent, but I ended up making my own. Great. But yeah, I knew nothing. They couldn't even tell me. I did that after I got the role, but initially I was actually told that Livewire was hood because she was from streets.
Okay.
And yeah, and and she had been orphaned, all this stuff happened. But I'm reading the script and I'm just like, no, like she's a boss because Livewire is actually the leader of the Valiant universe. So
yes,
all guys, your girl was the boss. And so, I was just like, and to be a woman of color, I was like, well, I think she's tough, yes, but I think she's transcended this, that her experiences didn't define her. And that's why she's the leader. And she also used to be the general for the biggest bad guy. And she's just like, besides him, she's the most powerful superhero in the Valiant universe. So I was like, I think we're still a little short. So I was reading all this scientific stuff, and long story short, I just decided that her voice was very distinguished, and everything she thought was actually very thought out and very melodical. And I think Storm had a lot of that, but I also think it was innate in Livewire. So I pulled a lot from that. And then acting, Bobby Marasco, shout out Bobby Marasco. A lot of people know him in the film industry. He's done a lot of great things. He helped write $1 Million Baby. He told me in an acting class once, when I went to his actor's gym, that you already are a superhero. Like you don't have to do much. Like I'm 6 feet, you know what I mean? And so kind of stepping into my own power, my own love for comics, combined with like what they stand for, and really just going off of my intuition of what I knew, what I felt made the character unique and powerful, and trying to give that justice. Because again, we were the first to ever play these Valiant superheroes live action. So they've been around for like 40 years, but no one ever played them. So there was just some things I had to decide. And I think a lot of it honestly came from just being scared. Like, just like when you're scared, like you just know how superheroes talk. Like, you
yes,
know how
exactly.
they know what's up.
No, I agree with you. And, I think it's pretty awesome how you explained all these things that went into it, the character. And I think that comes to one of the questions I wanted to ask you with regards to something you used to put it in your profile, and it was like, be your own hero, right? And I think that's what you did with this character. But what does that mean for you, and how does it what does it mean for today, like today in 2021, where we're talking? How has that evolved? What does that mean for you now, as well as what it meant when you first did it?
So be your own hero, before, it had a lot of comic book context to it before. And I've always been, so my background, I went to school, I was a basketball player, but my degrees, I got 3 degrees in social behavioral science because I wanted to help people in psychology, ethnic studies, and women and gender studies. And a lot of the times, people will be, we all have challenges. I'm a big proponent. I talk openly about mental health before it was acceptable. Everybody probably thought it was weird, but that was like why I wanted to talk about it. And so be your own hero is like doing whatever you need to do to know that no one else is going to like save you, but that you have to save yourself, and that you can't save anyone else until you save yourself, and knowing that you're capable. And that, so that's what it was. And that's where I was on that journey in my life. And that's still what it is. But it also, at this point, I think we just need empathy. And I think that superheroes are the ultimate examples and archetypes of empathy. Right. And so now what it means to me, after everything I've done, after the summer I've had and the year I've had with the climate of everything socially and justice wise, I would definitely think that it is much like Gandhi, be the change. So be the hero, not only in your life, but in the world that you want to see. I think a lot of us are waiting for like a politician to save them, or something different. But it's just like, no, we are society. You can decide today to be the kind of person that moves through the world in the type of world that you want, that you wish to exist, whether it's peace, harmony, happiness, love, empathy. So it's very nuanced to me at this point, the meeting. All positive.
No, I like that. It kind of harkens back to something I've always said. And, again, there are definitely victims in the world, but, you can either be a victim or a victor, right? And you have to choose which one if you want to continue to let everybody tell you what you should be instead of
Yeah,
just being who you are and shining that out to the world, I
right.
think is a beautiful thing. So,
And to piggyback off that, to keep it so real, it really comes down to like, in true superhero fashion, good versus evil, right? I do believe that there are negative forces and there are positive forces. No matter what someone's spiritual or religious beliefs are, I do, the commonality is negative energy, positive energy, right? At its
yeah.
core, uh, dismiss or mystify or anything like that, but just to make a blanketed statement. So it's just basically like being the positive energy, and what we're dealing with now in these times with the pandemic and all these different things, it's literally choosing to be light for yourself and for the world. And so I think it's probably one of the most short hashtagable heroic statements I can make within being able to pack a lot in there.
Awesome. And you touched a little bit on, how Storm and X-Men has been an inspiration for you. And what I would like to ask is, aside from Storm, is there any other characters that inspire you, and which comic book character out of Marvel, DC, doesn't matter, or Valiant, would you really like to get into the role of that character or play that character in a film?
Well, the answer to that is Storm. And people want me to play that character.
I can
So
see
there's,
that. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's the whole thing on Instagram. Um, so yeah, so that's the answer to the latter part. Other characters I like, that's hard because I have so many favorites that it's just like a jumble in my brain. And it's like really early right now, even though I wake up early. I've been up. Okay, there's a cat. Sorry, that's my cat.
That's
Well,
okay.
you know what? Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Okay, I'm not saying I like this character, but my cat's name is Thanos.
Ah,
And Thanos is very interesting, right? Because in correlation to our conversation, it's like he thinks he's doing good,
mhm.
right? As any acting coach will tell you, a good villain is one who we understand, even if we don't agree, we empathize with his plight. We can understand it. And I just think that he's a really powerful character. Like I don't think Thanos, like I just remember Thanos in the cartoon. And I just remember how like powerful he was.
Mm.
And it wasn't like in a corny way. And I think it's because he had more of he thought he was doing something good. And I think that it's just very telling because everybody has like different perspectives. And I like that they had a villain that it was just like, no, you clearly, we can't let this go down like this. Like clearly not today, sir. But we understand why you're doing this. So he's a cool character to me. Although I am here for the heroes. So I will say, I'm sorry, I gotta give it to T'Challa. T'Challa's so swaggy. T'Challa's so swaggy. Who else? Wolverine is like one of the best characters. I love Deadpool. There's a lot of, I've always been very interested in Mystique.
Mm.
Uh, I mean, but there's so many characters like uh I always appreciated how intelligent Beast was. I mean, I'm just giving a lot of X-Men. This is going very X-Men very fast. But yeah, you have to get back to me. That's a hard question because there's so many characters that I enjoy. But for sure, who I want to play is Storm.
Got it. I can definitely see that, right? You're tall, you've got this stature about you, right? You're gorgeous, you're talented, like all these different things that Storm is and can be. And I think that in my personal opinion, can really bring a different take on the character itself. So I'm rooting for you. Hopefully
Well, thank you.
you'll get it, right? I think that'll be awesome if you can play that character.
Yeah, Storm. The thing about Storm is none she needs a standalone film. Just like I want that as a fan. But as a fan, I appreciate all the things you said, and I'm grateful. And I'm like, yeah, it's meant to be. I check off the list. But I also would hope that I would get an opportunity to get in the room because or whoever, I mean, I can't be like whoever else plays it because I feel like I was born to play that role, but respectfully, I think what's yours is yours, and that's all it can be. So if it's meant to be, I said I keep doing my thing, but I want Storm to be played, and I think the fans want Storm to be played by someone who understands the character, who's a
Yeah.
comic fan, who understands the relationship with T'Challa, who like is just knowledgeable about like the actual storyline. This is such a character that's so powerful and has been so underutilized, you know, and is just such a strong woman and just a strong, you know, woman of color. But I feel like, honestly, if you know the history of Stan Lee, that's part of the reason Storm was created. And if you look at her story and everything she went through, you know, it's just, I think she's been really underserved, and Storm is definitely a leader. And I don't know that we've ever seen Storm in a real leadership role.
Yeah, I mean,
and
she has had bigger parts in films, right? But she's never been the center of attention, like, you know, leading the way and really taking charge like we all know she can.
Yeah, I think Alexandria Shipp, excuse me, I think she did a great job given the context of what it was written, and given also the time period, right? Like, I feel like I'm a good age to play Storm as like people know her in the cartoon. Maybe she would have been a little older than me, but I just feel like we keep getting a Storm that's like Halle Berry, which, you know, she just didn't talk much and she was just there. And then we get this younger Storm who was cool, but it wasn't really like, I just think that Alexandria did the best she could do in context to what she was given, because it wasn't about her. It was just like, oh, this is story, you know, or it was more or less, it was the Storm at like the inception period, right? Like she's in the street. And it's like, if y'all don't give us a Storm from the cartoon, powerful Storm that we know, like she was literally Professor Xavier's like right hand a lot of the time. You know what I mean? And the voice of reason. And she's very stoic too. There's certain nuances that Storm has that I've layered into Livewire organically, because I think I just innately understand the way Storm talks and her cadence, and how she carries herself. And I just want to see that translate so that other people can fall in love with that character.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with you. And you've been, you know, on the red carpet, right? You've been to Comic Cons.
Yeah.
So my question is to you, given fans in both scenarios, which are your favorite and why?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I love a good red carpet. You know, well, I will say, well, no, I mean the people that you meet and stuff like that, because people don't understand it's a whole thing, like it's a to-do. But it's so funny because when I was before, I was like, yeah, that's great, but that's just like such a small part of like what this job is. And so off top, hands down, meeting my fans, like that is, you know, like I'm a fan too. So, you know, like sometimes I'll be on set and there'll be a fight scene going on with like John Hennigan or like Derek Theller or whoever, or other shows that I'm on, and I'll be like, oh my God, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a fan. And I think that that's why I would imagine, you know, people have continued to rock with me, is because they see me having fun, because I like this stuff. And it makes me feel like a kid again. And that's what I want to give people, especially now. Like I want to give them hope and empathy and heroism, but I want them to feel like kids again. So when I'm at cons and I'm talking to people, I often do a lot of like motivational, positive public speaking, but just meeting fans and nerding out, like that's where it's at for me. Like that is just like, I feel so blessed that like, even to be talking to you like that, this is my life, and there's a group of people that support me, that I want to play superheroes and have powers and just be a ninja. Like I feel so blessed. So I definitely, Comic-Con is hands down my favorite experience. It's one of my experiences in life, period, that I enjoy the most.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. There is definitely you know, something to be said about your fans being able to get up close and personal. You know, I've covered red carpet events as press, and you know, we're there and we might get to ask someone like you questions, and there's fans in the background, but they don't really fully get to interact with you, right? But then at Comic Cons, they, you know, you make appearances, they can come up and talk to you, get autographs, all these different things, ask you questions. And I think that's a beautiful thing that you know, that happens.
and we really talk too. Like and a lot of my fans, like I'll meet them and they'll follow me on social, and like I'll remember them. And like I have fans like there was one girl from Slovenia, I won't say her name, but I was doing Comic-Con in Slovenia, and she was like an actress, and we were talking about it, and then like I was just telling her like, go for it and encouraging her. And then she told me like, hey, she wrote me later and it's like, I got a role. I just want to let you know on Instagram. Like, that's great. And I just seen her grow, and so that's been really, really amazing. And then like I had one fan from New York that calls me Fossey because my last name is Foster, but he's like a day one. I'm like a super hard fan, like day one Livewire fan from Argentina, and like just anything Livewire, so yeah, I really it really makes my heart happy, man, to be able to do that and to be able to do it all over the world. Like, and the fact that people care who you are, but I'm not mistaken, like even in different parts of the world, but I'm not mistaken, our common thread is, besides me being Livewire, it's just our love for comics that also bridges me with them. And the last thing I gotta say, I love seeing the little kids, like the little girls cosplaying.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess that brings me to one of the next questions that I would love for you to elaborate on is, what have you been up to aside from that, your public speaking activism? Why don't you go ahead and elaborate on that? Let people know what you're doing, how they can find you with regards to that, what's next for you with regards to that. And then maybe after that, talk about how, where fans can expect you to be as far as Comic-Con wise, where they can meet with you at.
So well, thank you for that. So I'm slated to do 3 projects starting right now.
Which is a good thing, right?
Yes, it is. It's a great thing. But with everything going on in the world, and I knew with the things that were happening last summer that this was going to be a long road. So much has transpired since then within other communities. We still have, because I speak very candidly, we still have, Latinx children in cages. And, we don't have to get like too into it here, but I mean, if you have me on, like to answer your question, I have to speak on it. And so there's so many things that I want to do, and just really, I have an assistant now and like more management. And so I'm trying to just really try to do what's going to be the most impactful, if that makes sense. So you can follow me on my Instagram, Ciera Foster Official, CIERA Official. And I actually like update people with what I'm doing, because sometimes, like for example, I was asked to speak at a pretty big event, and I'm going to be filming. So, but had I not been filming, that would have just been like, hey, I'm speaking here in a week or online. But to answer your question, there's an outreach director from the LAPD, and he works a lot with the African-American officers there. I can't go into too much detail about that, but I'm definitely trying to, that policing, I feel, needs to be, I personally don't believe that people may feel the way they want to feel about it. I don't believe that we just don't need police. That's just not what I believe. But I definitely believe that we have a problem that is inherently ours. And it's not happening anywhere else in the world. And so that needs to be reformed. So I'm working with them on that. I'm also, just to be quite honest, I'm also producing.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I'm very excited about that. And with that, I believe that there should be ownership in what you do. And I believe I have the service, having a platform to give other people, whether they be women or people of various, ethnic groups, an opportunity, so that's really what I'm working on. I feel like I said a lot, but I didn't go into detail, but some of the things I just can't go into detail. But I will say I have a character, I don't know if you got to peep her, Jaguar Brown, that is a good time on my Instagram. A friend blessed me and helped me with this character, and Jaguar Brown is pretty much everything that people want to say that they don't say, and everything. And so but she's cool because she's a superhero, but she's also like, she's from the hood, so she breaks character sometimes, and she just might say something, but she's not offensive. And I think that I've been really happy with the response that I've gotten from just such a diverse collective of people of all backgrounds. And so feel free to follow me if you want some laughs, but you also want to be educated on what's going on in the world.
That's great. Yeah. So what I'll do is, we'll go ahead and put that in there so everybody that's watching this right now can actually, find you. And then, that's pretty cool. I'll have to look into that myself personally. Jaguar Brown, it sounds pretty awesome. The fact that it seems like she tells it like it is, right? She lets you know what you need to hear, as opposed to just telling you what she thinks you want to hear, and I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but it's all light, it's all in good spirit, and the whole time I'm like trolling weapons, and every time it's like a different weapon. So I was just like, you know what, people need laughter, they need love. I'm all about the vibration, right? Like, it's good that I want people to take action, but if everybody feels awful, then and sometimes we have to be real, and if the things are difficult and they are heavy and we have to work through them. But I trying to do both, because I don't take myself too seriously.
Well, I appreciate you being here, Ciera. It's been, as a fan of some of your work, I think it's been awesome for me. I'm pretty sure anybody that's going to be watching this, it's going to be awesome to, hear from you and everything. And we're definitely anticipating what you have in store, the series that you told us about, as well as, your public speaking and activism, these types of things that people come to know about you and love. And so I really appreciate you taking time out of your day and being here with us.
Thank you. And regarding where I can be at Comic-Cons, I'm just happy to announce that with my new management in regards to Comic-Con, since I am producing and doing other things, it's very exciting that I have a team of people, because I've been blessed to go all over the world, but now I'm going to be able to do more domestic things and international things. So you can, I have a website that's being put up, and then I also have, my bio is pretty stacked, but I will definitely be able to be public how to get in contact with my management if you want me for a con. I do have a team that manages my actual requests. So if you want me, you can DM me, or you can push the email tab and it'll send an email to Courage Over Fear Today, which is with a 2 at gmail.com. But yeah, if you just give me a follow, you'll be able to figure out what cons I'm at. And if you want me to come to a con, just send us a DM and someone from my team will get in touch with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you for doing this and keeping it real and keeping it alive for all of us 90s kids. We appreciate it.
Awesome. So we'll end it there. Hopefully the questions I asked were good ones that you felt comfortable with.
Yeah. I know you might not have gotten a bio for me, so
it's okay. No, I did research you though. I did look at a lot of things. My thing is, I feel like a lot of people, and maybe you did want to talk more about Livewire. I feel like a lot of people are just pigeonholing you, so to speak.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that because I feel like you're so much more and you have so much range and more talent than just that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And so that's why I wanted to expand and ask you different questions, hopefully to spark that interest. You never know who might see this. So yeah.
No, I definitely appreciate it. Hopefully I did well. I don't know why I've been on this kick, but now I have to pack because I'm flying out tomorrow at 6 a.m. But I've just like been waking up at like 5 a.m. I was just like, I guess I'm going through a spiritual awakening. I don't know what's happening. And so I am a little tired, but as at the same, while being tired, I'm also very energized because this is truly what I love. And to me, I'm just grateful that I do have a team with me and that they were able to get in contact with you and set this up, because this is really my happy place. And I also just want more people. Like, I wish everybody cosplayed and like went to cons. They'd be a lot happier because there's such a fun place. And so thank you for having me.